Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are talking about game number 2 between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, where the score is once again 3-2 in favor of the Cats from Miami as they take the series hold 2-0, win both home games to start the series. And Florida this could not be a better situation for them. Because, I guess it technically could. They could have won this series 7-0 and shown that they just can dominate a team like Tampa, but in that case, Tampa wouldn't be putting up a fight. What I think this series is showing right now is that Florida is just as good as they were last year when it comes to producing and playing defense. And above all else, first of all, before I go anywhere, is Sergei Bobrovsky. This guy, over and over and over again. I can't believe that we made fun of him for those couple of seasons when he moves over to Florida and he just has a couple pretty average, not stellar seasons, and he's paid $10 million and he's not worth it. And then last playoffs, he shows us that he is the goddamn best goalie in the world. And I think right now, I don't think anyone else could really touch his crown. I know he's playing against the guy that I would say is the best goaltender of all time in Andrei Vasilevsky, but Sergei Bobrovsky, this guy is absolutely unreal right now. That save against Matt Dumba, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've seen it by now, was absolutely, and it wasn't even just that one, because even in game 1 he had a couple stellar saves, but nothing compares to this one that he made tonight. The one against Dumba where the backhand shot goes past him the other way, he goes flying backwards with his glove and nonchalantly makes the greatest save I've ever seen. I really do think that is at least in the top 3 saves I've ever been able to watch. I'm not live, but watch live on TV and see it with my eyes. Because we see those compilation videos online or whatever, but no, this one I think has to be top 3. I don't know exactly. I'd have to make up a good list for that one, but it was unreal. So Bobrovsky, definitely the number 1 player of this team this year. Last year it was between him and Tkachuk. If they won, I think I'd have to give it to Tkachuk for the Conn Smythe Trophy if they won. But right now, the way he is playing and shutting down a team like Tampa and just showing nothing, and that's the biggest thing too, is that I don't think people understand this about goaltending, but playing hockey myself, one thing a goaltender does when they're playing good is also stop all the momentum for the other team. If your goaltender is just shutting down everything and no rebounds, not coughing up anything, not giving some purges away, right? If they get that big lucky chance like Bobrovsky gave up there, that should have been a open empty net goal, and then he makes that save. It just makes it look bleak and make the other team panic, because it's what the hell do we have to do to beat this guy? And Bobrovsky shutting down the Tampa Bay Lightning is just unreal. Of course, he did get scored on twice. Braden Point's goal was pretty good, and Steven Stamkos' one-timer on the power play was pretty special. But other than that, Florida, they had the 2-0 lead to start. They did let them come back and tie it. But once again, the Panthers, probably made up of the most clutch players in the playoffs, with Carter Verhaeghe becoming one of the top 5 all-time playoff overtime goal scorers with 5 now, or is it 6 now? I think it's 5. Carter Verhaeghe with the goal, and he's just another one of those guys who had a stellar season for himself this year. Used to play on the Tampa Bay Lightning when they won the Stanley Cup. Moves over to Florida. He's been an absolutely fantastic player. I'm guessing if Florida probably regrets giving up one of their guys that they've had to get rid of over the years, of guys like Killorn and Palat. I think Verhaeghe's probably their number 1 guy that they hate giving up, because he has really blossomed into a top player in the NHL and a clutch player. And that's what Florida is made up of. They truly have gamers on this team. When it comes to guys like Tkachuk and Verhaeghe, when it comes to clutch goal scoring in the playoffs, being just fighter grinders, not grinders like Jeannot or Ryan Reeves, grinders who are going to the net, doing what it takes to score, because that's what he does here, right? Verhaeghe, he's crashing the net. Everyone's going to with the pucks in the crease area. He's going into the dirty area, getting that puck on his stick, up top shelf, past the down goaltender. The shots rate right there. Backhand over Vasilevsky. Verhaeghe gets it done and wins the game for them. But overall, this was a great game for both teams. But the biggest thing I have to say for Tampa, I'm going to skip a little bit on the board here, is that they never really felt like they had the upper hand in this one. And that's kind of been my thing this series, is I know it's only been 2 games so far, but Tampa has struggled. And it's because the Florida Panthers defense has been so shut down, and it's not just their defense and goaltending, right? Because it's one thing for the first barrier is getting for guys like Kucherov to get past guys like Barkov, to get past guys even like Tarasenko right now. Guys like Sam Bennett are playing their hearts out to get to do good forechecking and really help on the back check. Then once they get past those guys, they have Forsling, they have Ekblad and Montour to worry about. And then Ekman Larsson's playing good defensively, Kulikov, and then they run in to Bobrovsky. And guys like Kucherov, they just can't get anything going. They can't set up in the offensive zone, and it's just there's been no like serious like whole period or any like a serious time where I'm like, oh yeah, Tampa's got the edge right now. They're really putting Florida on their heels. Sure, like maybe one play or so, but like for like the most of it, it never has felt like Florida's the team that's fighting back. They're always the team who's on top of it, and it's when Tampa evens things out, right? It's either Florida's pushing them their way or Tampa's evened it. It's never gone like, oh, Tampa's going. So that's kind of one thing that worries me for Tampa. But Florida, this is the best case scenario, because it's not like where with New York, where I see them and they're winning their games and it looks like this is going to be a pretty good sweep for the Rangers against the Capitals. But the issue is that the Capitals are not pushing the Rangers, right? They are not pushing them to their limit and really going to make them want to play their hardest game to go in the next round, right? This team is. Florida has to fight, and they are fighting hard against their rival, for one, which is a whole different dynamic. A team that has the experience of probably the best playoff experience of any team in the NHL right now. And they are winning these puck battles. They are winning the physical game, the pressure game, the offense and the defensive game, goaltending game. Florida is putting all the pieces together, and all the pieces are getting points on the board. Tkachuk getting he got an empty net goal the other night, but getting an assist this game. Also, the other thing is that was a good goal. The one where Tkachuk hits Vasilevsky, that was a good goal. I think it wasn't Hagel, or maybe it was, but whoever the player on Tampa was, I know he probably wasn't leaning into him hard enough, especially like a big guy like Tkachuk, to really go full force into Vasilevsky like that. But at the same time, as a referee, is if that player is like on, because he was on him, right? You can't say that the guy just wasn't touching him. Like, he clearly was like pressuring him in the back, and Tkachuk was going forward because of it, and he ran into him. And Sam Bennett scores the goal, and good for him too. Because and it's playoff hockey. That's what you have to do, and that's what Tampa needs to start doing as well. They need to start getting into Bobrovsky, and I don't mean just like crashing into his head or something like that, but they really do need to take his eyes away. But to be able to do that, you gotta set up in the offensive zone so you can have your centerman or one winger go in and block the eyes of Bobrovsky. The issue is that Florida has not allowed Tampa to really set up in the offensive zone and get those kind of plays going. So when they say like a goalie's hot, you got to take his eyes away. But the issue is, to do that, you have to get into your opponent's zone and like set up those plays, and they just can't do that. And they can't get those tip-in shots, because Florida just isn't allowing them. They're bodying the guys out of the way, they're shoving them out of the zone, and they turn the puck around so well. Florida's just all over it. They're winning all these kinds of battles, and Florida is just on top of it. And I know I'm just sucking them off right now, but truthfully, Florida just, after how they played last year in the playoffs and this year, they just feel like the juggernaut that they should be. They just feel so deep. And it's not just like that, because you even look at a team like the Knights, right, who are another team that I'm like big on this year. But the game they played against Dallas so far, it feels like they don't have that shutdown game, right? They might be able to score a lot of goals and might be able to take a lot of goals on it because they can still score. But Florida feels like they're really just like a shell. They're a dome. They are a fortress to get past. And to me, the Knights just don't kind of have that. The Avalanche, they don't have that. And then they have the niceness of guys like Tarasenko and Bennett, and they've got so much depth who can chip into the puck in the play, right? They can score those dirty goals that you need in the playoffs. They can score those good goals in the playoffs. They have the defense who can chip in, but also they really can stop you from scoring goals. And so far right now, Florida, this is a solid win. They win those 2 games. They're going to Tampa Bay now. And for Tampa, this series is huge because what happens if they lose, right? Is this where they finally start to turn things around? I don't know. I don't know what other moves they can make. I'm at the top of my head, I can't remember if they actually signed Stamkos to an extension now. So you got to think if they lose, I mean, does he go out unless he did? So I don't really remember. But even if he did or did not, like, what happens here? Because it's not like Stamkos is the issue. He scored 2 goals so far in the playoffs. He's been a solid player in the regular season. He isn't like going down the hill or anything. Braden Point's getting on the board. So it's not like your top guys are the issue, where we look at like the Maple Leafs and it's like, yeah, they could change that around. The top guys are far from the issue. It's just something is missing, and it's that depth that really makes them that superstar team. And I don't know. I don't know what happens to Tampa, but right now it's 2-0. I think I see Tampa winning 1 game at home at least, but I just feel like how hot the Cats have been, they're going to stay hot, and they're going to take the series over the next 2 home games for Tampa. They will make this series 3-1, and I think they win it in Game 5 at home. So that's all I got to say, really. So for the Cats, I'm loving their game. I'm loving their future right now, and that is really all I got to say. In Tampa, I'm worried, and I used to live there, so I'm a big fan of Tampa, and I'm kind of worried because I don't know how exactly what they're going to do this offseason if they lose. So that is all I got to say. So thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your subscription. Please just subscribe. Like, I'm begging you. Please. And until next time, too sweet, have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.